The first two videos in this series were the Infinity Warp Prototype Demo Basics and Intercepts. They show how ships move around within a star system, a planetary system. This video will demonstrate how the ships would move between star systems. And the important dial on in this case is the jump indicator here, the jump system, the jump drive indications. And there are three indicators here. The white band, the innermost band, is used to indicate the recharge rate of the jump drive. The grayish band, the tannish band here, is used to indicate the state of charge of the jump drive. And the green band on the outer side is an indication of when the jump drive is enabling or disabling. Actually, the center area will also light up when the jump drive is active. To make a jump, and we're in a Corvette, so our jump range is somewhat limited, but it is interstellar, so we can go out to the star level, the galaxy level, and we can click on stars. And when I click on stars, you'll notice that the bottom of the jump indicator is showing a warning here. It's saying my velocity is too low to calculate a jump, and certainly too low to make a jump. So what I want to be doing is get moving here away from the space station and pick up some speed, get my power up, which corresponds to an increase in speed, and that speed will build as I move away from the space station and away from the Earth and all these other things, because we're still well within the disruption area of those bodies. And we'll let that build. The disruption level is dropping over here. And as we pick up velocity, now I'm getting intermittent mass proximity warnings from the jump drive indicator, from the jump drive itself, the jump computer technically. And now it's saying that it's trying to calculate a jump path, but unfortunately it keeps running into the sun. And I've just messed up my selection. I have to keep the distant star selected so that a path can be calculated. And that path is being calculated, but it's trying to reach the star, which is down here somewhere. But the sun's gravity is disrupting things so much that the jump path was being forced through the star. Now that we're beyond the star enough, that jump path has bent away from the star. The star is no longer interfering with it to the point where I can no longer make the jump. And now I find that I have a jump path right to that star. All of this is based on other discussions that took place in around the 2009 time frame in the Infinity discussion forums, the gameplay discussion forums. In those discussions, the idea of a jump tunnel was discussed. Because this is a 2D implementation, all we can do is a jump ribbon. And this line here represents the path of that jump ribbon should I choose to actually make this jump. I can select other stars and see what sort of a jump path I would get to each of them. Sometimes if I try and select a star that's too far away, I will get this red continuation. White says how far I can jump when I'm moving at my current speed and with the amount of jump fuel that I have. The jump matrix is fully formed, and therefore I can jump this far at the speed that I'm moving at. If I accelerate, you'll see that this line transitions from reddish to completely white. And when it's just barely filled out white, that says I can just barely make this M6 star with my current speed and jump matrix. And if I continue to go further out, you'll see that we're back to red, saying that we won't make it this far. We'll make it somewhere about here, and then we'll fall out of the jump tunnel, the jump ribbon, excuse me. A jump tunnel would be 3D. We do a jump ribbon here. And if I do this right, this is saying that the jump path to this M2 star passes very close to this star here, and therefore this star is disrupting the path. As a matter of fact, it's completely blocking it right now. Remember that I'm moving through this system, and the star that I'm at, Sol, the sun, is interfering with the formation of the jump path, and it's causing the path that wants to go here to go so close to this star that it can't get by. So I would only get as far as that star, but I actually would get to that star if I were to perform a jump under the current circumstances. If I increase my speed, that'll alter the path, the jump path, and maybe I ought to alter my velocity vector enough so that we're going to get past that. It's really hanging on to it. There, now it's bouncing over there. There we go. So that would allow me to take this path, but with this kink in it, I have to actually fly this path. And an actual jump happens so quickly that I would probably not make this turn. I would go right through this edge and end up over here somewhere in interstellar space and low on fuel. So I'd have to jump to a nearby star if I hope to do anything. It's flattening out a little bit, but there's still these kinks here, and I don't want to try this. So let's say I pick something just, oops, that's not straightforward at all. Let's pick something straightforward. Okay, that looks like a reasonable jump, and I'm going to get my ship more or less aligned with that. I'm not sure that I want to be flying quite so fast. The speed of my ship, so this power setting down here, is going to control how fast I move through the jump ribbon. If I go very, very fast through the jump ribbon and there are any kinks in it at all, I'll very easily fly off the side of it, and I don't want to do that. And I don't need to go at full power through this short jump. So I'm backing off my power, and that means I'll go through at half speed through the jump ribbon when it's formed. To turn on the jump drive, I just hit a key, J. The jump drive is powering up. Once it's powered up, it'll start to eat into the jump matrix in order to maintain the jump drive. So I don't want to be dilly-dallying here. I want to make this jump. I'll hit a key, Control-Shift-J, and there's the jump ribbon. And my ship naturally is being kept within the ribbon. But that's only true if, oh, that was close. We were heading towards the edge of the jump ribbon, and we did not want to do that. But we didn't go outside of the jump ribbon. We made it to the end of the ribbon, and therefore we completed the jump. And you can see that we ate up a bunch of the jump matrix that powers the actual jump drive, and it's slowly recharging on its own. This is the charge rate, so we're obviously at a very low charge rate, and this is the spontaneous charge rate that just happens by shunting the ship's power through it or whatever other fiction you care to choose for that. But we get an automatic recharge from that, so we don't need to do any refueling. So let's go off to another jump, and actually this star has no planets, which is quite disappointing, but we'll try another system. And we'll just jump to another nearby. Well, let's make a longer jump. Let's make a jump that may not work. This looks interesting. So if I bend this sufficiently so that it looks like a bad eye, oops, that's a little too much. There we go. We'll see if we can do that jump. So we'll go with the jump matrix that we have. We'll go with the kink in the path, and we'll see if we make it. And here we are coming up on this corner, and I'm going to hard left, and no, not a chance. I was way too fast for that turn, and now we are off in the middle of nowhere. Absolutely no warp disruption, so I can move along at a pretty good clip, but it is going to take me years to actually reach a star just because interstellar distances are so huge. I can go at 0.1 AU per second, but as you can see, 0.1 AU per second just to get out of this circle would require 6,680 seconds, and we're not going to bother with that. Now, unfortunately, we have to rely on the spontaneous jump recharge. So we're going to see what sort of a distance we can jump on that with our partial, and we might be able to get to this if we accelerate, which will extend the range of the available matrix. And let's get this thing underway. enable the jump drive, and that can be as fast or as slow as you care to make it. It's just slow for grandeur purposes. And we should be able to make this. I'm going to edge over towards the right side, and yeah, okay. So we've made it to a new planetary system. We're really low on jump matrix. So let's go over to the star and get a refuel. It's going to take a little bit of time because we've got to drive over there, and we're going to try and avoid the disruption of this planet because we want to get there as fast as possible. And because we're just doing a flyby of the atmosphere, which is the way we recharge the jump matrix, I'm going to carry a lot of velocity here with a really high power setting, assuming that I can get over to the star in time. I guess I'm going to have to back off some to tighten up this turn because I am really moving through this system. And the idea with jump refueling is that you're passing through the layers, the upper layers of a star or of a planet. But a star has the most energetic particles, and therefore they are best for rebuilding that matrix. And this is taking so long, and the ship is so small that we might get a spontaneous recharge before I can even get to the star. And this is the sort of thing that pilots would do a lot if they were merchantmen moving around through the galaxy making jumps. Now, of course, they wouldn't be merchantmen in corvettes. They'd probably be merchantmen in frigates or destroyers or something like that. And the jump ranges and the size of the amount of fuel that they can carry is much greater. So they would not be doing this frenetic stop and go, stop and go. And as we come up on the star here, I'm aiming for the limb of the planet. We're trying the star. I'm trying to get a pass through the upper layers of its atmosphere, and that will give me a recharge of the fuel matrix. And here's the recharge rate. So we hope to see that increasing as we get closer in. But again, I think we're just going to, the Corvette is so small that even a spontaneous recharge is going to give it a full fuel load, a full matrix, before we've even touched the star's atmosphere. But we'll make the pass anyway to establish that refueling is in fact possible. And you'll see how much higher it is, how much higher the rate of refueling is than the spontaneous rate that you get at all times. And we're approaching the upper layers of the atmosphere. And we're hoping to see an increase in that white line, the inner ring of that dial. And I'm just closing in very gradually. If you can imagine this being a battleship with really big tanks, it would be doing this. It would be very necessary to do this. There is no way a spontaneous recharge would work. And there we go. The fuel rate is just skyrocketed. And I'm trying to avoid doing anything foolish here with my controls. But you can see that the recharge rate is pretty much pegged. And now I can get out of here because I have a full matrix for the jump drive. Unfortunately, I definitely cannot jump while I'm sitting next to a star. So I'm going to have to power away from this star and align my velocity vector with the star that I'm interested in jumping to. And because we have a full load, let's see if we can make a nice long jump here out to some distant star. Well, we have the mass proximity problem, and that's jamming the the jump computer's ability to calculate a course. So until we get clear of that, what the jump computer is saying is that the jump path, because of the mass of this star, the jump path goes right into the center of the star, and it's not going to bother showing me that. It's saying the problem is we have a large mass nearby. A planet can do that too. So we're building speed. We don't have a speed warning. We do have a mass proximity warning, which we're trying to shed. The larger the star, the more difficulty we'll have in getting clear of that. There we go. Okay, mass proximity is clear. And we have a jump path. It's a long-range path, but it's straight. So I'm just going to rocket this thing, max out my power as much as I can, or as much as is needed. I have a full jump matrix. I have a solid white line. I am going to power up my jump drive. And as soon as that's powered, I'm going to jump. I don't want to lose any of my fuel. So here we are making a long jump. You can see that the jump matrix is being eaten away as we fly along the jump ribbon here. And I can actually do things like flying around here, but I really don't want to do that very much. There's a natural tendency for the ship to stay in the center of the ribbon. And now that I've arrived, you'll see that my arrival velocity, my arrival power, is the same as my departure power. And that means that if I come in hot, I'm going to arrive hot, and I'll have to deal with that. If I'm flying right at an enemy fleet, I might have to do something dramatic to try and avoid that fleet, or I might be doing exactly what I want to do and go charging into that fleet. It's all a gamble on how you're going to approach the system, where the planets are, etc. Also, the direction of my approach, and I am going right at this star, the direction of my approach is the same as I know that the direction that I approach this star, the side of the star that I'm going to be on, is the same as the side that I came from. So I arrived on this side of the star. That means I jumped from this side of the star. If I jump from a star down here to this star, I would arrive here and I would be going towards the star. That's just the general pattern. And that's the essentials of the jump system. It is pick a star, make sure that you're clear of any obstacles like planets and stars, large masses, and get a clean path through the star field. Make sure that you're within range of your destination. If there's any red in the jump path that is being shown to you, then you're too far away and you won't make it to your destination. Make sure you have enough fuel, make sure you have enough velocity, and then turn on the jump drive and make your jump. Make sure you stay in the ribbon. If you drop out of the ribbon without much fuel, you're just going to have to wait for a spontaneous recharge. And that's particularly onerous for something like a battleship, because the recharge rate is going to fill its tanks very slowly, but hopefully it'll be filled quickly enough that you can jump to a nearby star and then recharge off of the star's atmosphere and continue on to your destination. Just try and avoid creating those kinks in the jump ribbons and you should be good. And that's it.